Oh my God, hurry up. Pass me the phone. Come on. Oh my God, hi, Carrie. It's me, I'm Beauty.
And it's Dominique Nicole. You already know DJ the rapper. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy.
Carrie, tell it like it is through your radio. Fully syndicated, funny for the silly folks. Always keep it positive, never negative. Carrie's Corner is the name. Welcome to the show. Hot top celebrities bringing in the voice of the community. It ain't gonna stop. And when they start to play the beats, I'ma have to write you up a eulogy 'cause they so hot. And I stay live, and I stay woke when the man tryna keep me on demand. Yeah, GDB, I'm Beauty and Dominique Nicole in the
Carrie's Corner will show you just what you were made of. Carrie's Corner will have the music playing through ya. Carrie's Corner will have you sipping on some tea. Carrie's Corner, tell it like it is, you and me. Carrie's Corner, syndicated radio.
Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. Tell it like it is, boy.
Hey yo, what's happening? This your boy 5 Mics. Anytime I'm looking for great entertainment or the latest scoop on the music industry, I pick up Intrigue magazine. 'Cause everything I read in is so intriguing. Don't believe me? Then find out on your own. IntrigueMagazine.com, where reading is a pleasure.
And now it's time for those exclusive New Jack joints right here on Carrie's Corner, your new home for throwbacks and New Jacks.
I used to think that men were the same. Then I met you and my feelings changed. Seems as though you looked inside of me, turned my dreams into reality. But as the story goes, lessons are meant to be told. It was never you that I needed, but the strength I didn't see within me. Feelings ain't right. I pushed them aside, but I didn't wanna sleep alone at night. What a cheap price tag. No, really, what a cheap price tag. One night stay, it's getaway, energy strain, the price I pay. Diamonds say bling, 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 but they can't feel me, feel me. Shoes make me tall, but who will catch me when I fall? Material girls, lover, material world. I don't want these things. Are you listening? Loyalty, time, love, keeping money, patience, teamwork, compatibility. If it's not right, I'll know in time. When feelings ain't right, I won't push them aside. I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. Diamonds say bling, 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 but they can't feel me, feel me. Shoes make me tall, but who will catch me when I fall? Material girls, lover, material world. I don't want these things. Are you listening?
Hi, this is Margot Thunder, and you're listening to the Carrie's Corner radio show. And this is my single, What Do You Do?
And time again, if I give you all of me, maybe we can be more than friends. But every chance I get, you take my love, then you walk away. Well, every bone in my body wishes you would stay. What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love you. What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love you no more. What do you do? Give you all of me. What do I get in return? My girls keep asking me, Margot, when you gonna learn? But baby, I'm just a fool for loving you so deep. Will I ever be more to you than just a late night creep? What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love you. What do you do? When love don't love you. When love don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love you. What do you do? Keep trying to make it work. But maybe I need to think about myself first. But I love you. But I wanna know how you feel about me.
It's obvious. Up high, I try. Broken, down low. Can't move around it. I think you know. No matter what, I can't get over you. Up high, I try. Broken, down low. Can't move around it. I think you know. No matter what, I can't get over you. Late night, got you on my mind. Sitting here going through it without you by my side. I can't sleep and I can't eat. I'm in my feels tonight. Need some sexual healing. My body's so uptight. The way you touch me, nobody come close, babe. The way you love me, it's incomparable, baby. Cause you know you got that act right. Boy, come give it to me all night. Just one look and it's on sight. Can't let you go like a down tight. Up high, I try. Broken, down low. Can't move around it. I think you know. No matter what, I can't get over you. Up high, I try. Broken, down low. Can't move around it. I think you know. No matter what, I can't get over being alone nowadays. Cause all I do is think about you and me. Keep thinking about the way how you used to hold and care for me. The thought of you not being here kills me slowly, dying, trying to hold it together. You promised you'd be here forever. Up high, I try. Broken, down low. Can't move around it. I think
And we're back on the Carrie's Corner Radio Show. We just came out of a New Jack segment. We heard Mariah Hester. She calls that one Material Girl. Margot Thunder, formerly of 9.9 out of my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts, asks the question, what do you do? And we ended everything off with Aviance, my girls from Philadelphia, with Broken. All right. Finally, some technical difficulties going on. I think there still are, but I have to pretend like I'm not noticing. Anyway, my boy Calvin Michaels is here, all the way from Washington, D.C. I'm really excited to have him here in the studio. And let's see if I can get this right. I've been practicing this. Peace and greetings, Calvin Michaels.
That's right.
Okay.
You gotta add a clap. Yep.
Okay, I did the clap, right?
Yep,
okay,
clap.
that's how we intros. Could you make sure Kevon, his mic is a little closer to his mouth?
Oh, I can pull it in.
So he's like really there. Okay,
go.
great.
All
Welcome to the show. You got to see us in rare form with our technical difficulties. And one of the things that I want to say is that with all the shenanigans that are going on in the studio, I think sound effects, nothing tops your shenanigans. And without any further ado, brother, Calvin Michaels in rare form.
One. And then did you all see this clip of this woman getting her hair washed in the toilet bowl? Let me play the clip while I talk. Like, look at this foolery. Like, whoo, and they're serious too. And I mean, they got a whole system where they're gonna put something in the commode and the part on the back and I want to say something so out of pocket, but I'm trying to be a better person in life, so I'm gonna keep it to myself. But you know what? I don't know. It's almost like I saw this other story with the woman in Florida who she was swimming in the canal and somehow got lost and somehow ended up in the sewer system and was in the sewer for 3 weeks. I got questions because you gotta eat something in those 3 weeks. You gotta drink. Let's move on.
So one of the things that I have to say first and foremost is you have to be one of the most charismatic people ever to record a YouTube channel, brother. I have to say this. I've been addicted to your YouTube channel for a while now. You have great content. You're hilarious. You're charismatic, and you always have great information. Let's start from the beginning. How did you start the YouTube channel?
Actually, I was doing stand-up comedy, and so the idea was to post my shows on the channel, and that was going to be the good promotion. And then gradually I started utilizing the channel for other things. I started having opinions about stuff, or something crazy would happen in the news and I want to talk about it. Plus,
right.
That's pretty much how it started, and then over time it just grew and grew and grew. So here we are. It's kind of funny because I never go back and watch my videos, so to hear it kind of play back,
okay.
I was like, what video was that?
Yeah, I was watching a couple of nights ago because I watched one, then I watched another, and I watched another, and I watched another. And I mean, this was what were you talking about? I'm trying to think. I don't even remember because I watched so much of your content. But clearly, you are hilarious. And so, but that brings me into you do comedy.
Yeah, I'm
clearly
been a little out of the picture, but yeah, that's how it started. That's what I'm rooted in.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So last night I was watching one of your podcasts, or one of your most recent podcasts that came out. What is the difference between a podcast and an In the News? Because you have an In the News segment. You have the R&B is Dead segment, which I can totally concur with that. So you have different segments. Explain to us that have not subscribed to your YouTube channel yet what your different segments are about.
So I jumped into a bit of everything. So the thing was, people were starting to say that I was scaring them because I talk a lot of politics and race. And so I wanted to do something that was a bit more balanced, where I wasn't scaring everybody off. And because I wasn't doing as many comedy shows, that's where the podcast came in. So I have a podcast called Comedically Hardheaded. And that's all storytelling. And that's actually on the actual podcast platforms. And after they have their initial run, then I'll put them on the YouTube channel. So there's that. The R&B is Dead series. I'm a music fanatic, so that's kind of just music conversation. The series has kind of evolved because I don't personally think R&B is technically dead. It's just the structure of the industry has changed. So R&B artists have it kind of rough. And then there's In the News. That's current topics. That's kind of what keeps the channel alive. We do documentaries, so the So What Happened series. You jump into different music projects that may not have necessarily done as commercially well as anticipated.
Clearly.
I do the live sessions.
And wait, so who are some of the artists that you've done that segment on?
Yeah, so far we've done TLC's 3D Project, Brandy's Aphrodisiac, Usher's Here I Stand, Janet Jackson's Demita Joe. Up next is Tony Braxton, More Than a Woman.
Okay. And since we're on the topic of recording artists, before I let you go back and talk about the other segments, who are some of your favorite recording artists? I'm kind of thinking we have something in common here.
So in my head, it's still like 2001. So, obviously, Janet Jackson's going to always be my most favorite at everything.
Do you recognize the bed music that's playing right now?
You playing in the background.
Yes, absolutely.
Prince.
Yes.
Michael, Tony, Brandy, Maxwell.
So
current ones.
It's funny. I don't hear Cardi B and Drake and Lil Wayne and what are the other fools that come to mind when I said it, you didn't?
Okay, I'm still trying to climb in the industry. I'm gonna be blacklisted at all the parties.
No, I'm just saying you have a certain taste, and the reason, the way that I got to know about your channel is because I was Googling things about Janet Jackson, and you did a whole thing about her period between Demita Joe and the Discipline Project, to be honest, and that's how I first learned of the brilliance of Calvin Michael. So, but some of the other segments, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I mean, those are the main ones. I have a live segment I do sometimes, and we'll do movie reviews. There's sometimes more so politically oriented documentaries. So it's just a bit of everything. Right. I just learned, give them a bit of everything, you're good.
Let's talk about you also have the book club thing going. And that's another thing. So for those that are not familiar with your YouTube channel, a lot of times you'll do stories with a line of books behind you. And I'm an Aries, so I'm very aware and I pay attention to things. A lot of the books that you have are books that I have. So I felt like, damn, me and this brother have a lot in common. Like, how did you choose the books for the online book club?
I actually take a poll. Whatever's kind of sticking around and, has my interest, I'll make a poll on the channel and say, okay, these are the 4 I'm looking at. What do y'all want to do? Okay. And we just go from there.
So have you had the first one? You did that?
Yeah,
we
did the first one a few weeks back. The second one will be March 7th.
Okay. And so is it on, what's the format?
So it's actually on Zoom. Okay. I want people to have an opportunity to indulge as well, where it's just not me running my mouth and you just got to listen. So yeah, this is the time where people can really click and connect.
How do you get I've had the Kerry's Corner radio show is approaching 9 years. 15-minute interviews for me are long, even when they're people that I'm interested in speaking to. Damn, that would suggest that I've had guests that I wasn't interested in speaking to. That happens. Not often. But how do you get the energy? I've seen you talk when you were sick. I've seen you talk when you were tired. And how do you get the energy? And you're just talking. It's not even like a conversation. I think that's a huge skill there. Like, how do you get the energy to do that?
I learned this from Sade. You only speak when you have something to say. So I don't have an actual schedule on my channel. I only make videos when I feel like making them. Okay. People fight me about it, but I think it gives quality as opposed to just putting something out to put something out.
So you're only talking about stuff that you really, really have a lot of knowledge of. Well, not. Sometimes I've watched you talk very extensively about stuff that you just did seemingly a little bit of research about. So that's pretty brilliant, man. Pretty brilliant. Stand-up comedy, is that something you'd be interested in doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually, I think out of all of the lanes, that's probably where I would most likely be the most successful. Yeah, so I really enjoy doing that. I like to, because I think comedy is really just how you interpret regular everyday situations. That's where humor comes from. So I enjoy doing that.
And I mean, I haven't watched, and the what is it called again? How can we watch the comedy?
So the comedy, I think I don't have anything posted anymore. I kind of paused it all, but most of it right now is in the podcast, Comedically Hard-Headed. And then I have some shows lined up in the summer, like some actual in-person shows.
So Comedic Hard-Headed.
Comedically Hard-Headed. I made up a word.
Comedically Hard-Headed. And what are some of the topics you touch on in terms of your comedy? Because I'm so obsessed with the news topics. I haven't gotten to the comedy yet.
So the podcast is just storytelling, just moments that I've lived before. My
okay.
actual comedy shows, I jump into everything. So honestly, a comedy show for me is almost an in the news, but a little less serious, a little bit more comedic.
A little less serious.
Yeah, a little less serious.
I have to ask you, do you intentionally, or is it just part of your personality? Like, I often watch you talk about a topic that's not funny, and it's hilarious. I'm sitting in my room eating M&Ms, and I'm falling out laughing. Is it just part of your personality, or do you say to yourself, I'm going to make this topic kind of humorous today?
I just think my whole family's that way. I
Really?
remember my father's funeral. We were cracking jokes just before we walked in because we were trying to see who was going to cry first. And so, like, that's just how our family is, because we gave each other an applause for being on time, because we don't be on time for nothing. But we made it on time for my daddy's funeral. I was like,
Wow.
You got to be ashamed. But yeah. So,
And you're from Spanaway, Washington.
Spanaway, Washington.
What is a Spanaway, Washington? The
Spanaway,
smallest
Washington.
city I've ever lived in my life was Boston, which isn't very
that's
small.
about 50 Spanaways.
Right.
Spanaway is a military suburb of, like, Tacoma, Washington.
So not even of Seattle.
It's not even of Seattle.
Oh, wow.
There's
Okay.
nothing there. I mean, it's a nice spot to grow up in when you're a kid, but it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, by the mountain, Mount Rainier.
Okay, I'm familiar with Mount Rainier. Okay, and then so you moved at some point. You went. I'm assuming that what brought you to Washington D.C. wasn't the go-go music. It was probably Howard University.
I went to Howard. Yep.
Yeah.
I
What
got
was your
there.
experience like at Howard, at HBCU? I've never.
It was needed. My parents were military, so I lived all around the world. I lived in Vicenza, Italy. I spent some time in Georgia, a bunch of different places. I needed an experience where I could be around a collective that shares my same experience, just to make sure I don't grow up in this world and end up half crazy and just doing a bunch of nonsense. And so it was needed at the time. Actually, in the podcast, I have an episode for every year of being at Howard. And
Wow.
actually, there's 8 episodes. My junior and senior years were like 2 episodes each. And I had to do a summer session because I was playing around. So I even talk about that. But yeah, so the podcast goes into full detail about all of that. But it was a great time. It was really fun.
So as you would say on your YouTube channel, you needed to be more on this side as opposed to this side.
I mean, that side was there, but I
Okay,
needed the
right.
pieces to make sense.
Right.
You know, because if you grow up as one of the only ones, where you're the only one in the group picture,
Right.
you know, you go to the school dance and you got to wait for your kind of music to come on because you got to sit through all the country and through all the rock and through all the heavy metal. You know, there's certain things that you just need.
Oh, okay. So first time on campus, what was that like for you? Because I know, like, whether you're from New York City or Spanaway, you know, being on the campus of Howard University is something special. I mean, I was on your campus, but for a whole different reason that I don't feel like it needs to be discussed. But it had nothing to do with books or education, and that was years before you were on campus. So,
Well, mine was funny because I never did the tour before I got there.
Oh,
so we
okay.
went to the wrong dorm. And so we go there. My name's not on the list. My dad does a full show up there. He tells you go up there, pick any room you want. I'll be up there in a minute. And it turned out we were there the wrong day, the wrong building.
wow.
So yeah, I saw a bunch of Bape hoodies when I got there. But no, it was a lot. I was excited though. I had never seen such like a utopia of blackness just
Right.
everywhere. You only, like in a place like Spanaway, you only get that when you go to church or the barbershop. So it was cool for that. Because even growing up at my high school, you were kind of friends with all the black kids because there was only so many of us. You
Right.
had just enough for the table. So when I got to Howard, I was like, how am I going to be friends with 13,000 black people? Like I thought you would get to meet each person. So
Right.
yeah, it was cool though.
what about the city of DC? How was that a culture shock to you coming from the Pacific Northwest?
I loved every minute of it. And fortunately, I have family in the DMV, and they told me when you get to Howard, enjoy Howard, but also enjoy DC. Don't live in a Howard bubble or you're
Right.
going to miss out on the greatness of DC.
Right.
So I always had the best of both worlds.
Okay. So you also do music. You're a clear lover of music, but you're also a recording artist. You've had 2 albums out, and you have another album coming out at
Yep.
some point.
At some point.
That's why he's
Yep.
not answering. Talk to me about your first 2 albums, though.
All right, so I have 2 albums, all self-produced. My first album is called Symphonic Euphoria, and the second album is called The Hardcover. Symphonic Euphoria happened just because I randomly decided, you know what, I'm going to just build a studio and kind of play around. And I
Right.
played around, and before you know it, I had an album. And then the hardcover was a bit more intentional, and I actually made an effort to really like have a theme and everything. And so my music, I think, is just, it's a combination of just high energy, feel good music. I love up tempos. I hate that people don't really make them anymore. Everything is mid tempo right now, which is fine, but you got to balance it out. So I just make music that I would actually want to sit and listen to, and layers as far as stacking with the vocals and instrumentation and just giving a bit of something that's different. So
I let our mix show DJ Just in Time listen to your tracks specifically in preparation for this show, and he said, and I know from watching your channel that you're not a big fan of comparisons, and I get that, but I think that what he said to me when he said that if he could compare you to any artist, it would be Prince. And I was like, wow. Like, and Just in Time is a musicologist like yourself. Mm-hmm. So for him to compare you to Prince, I was like, well, God dang it. Because we went to Paisley Park last year in Minneapolis. He dragged me. I say drag because he was like, let's go to Minneapolis. I was like, no, we're not going to Minneapolis ever for anything. I think Minneapolis, cold. It's August, but still. But he said, let's go. And we went to Chicago, and then we went to Minneapolis. And it was a dope experience. I think anybody that's a Prince fan must go to Paisley Park. If you're a music fan, you must go to Paisley Park. It's a really dope experience. And I have to concur, like, your music is very funky, but it's very, it's had a lot of texture. You know what I mean? Like, what inspires you to make these tracks lyrically?
Oh, lyrically, I just tell where I'm at the moment in life, and that's kind of just, I feel like music is a story, and so I've always told myself the music should tell a story, but then the lyrics should complement the music, and then the vocals, they do what they do as well. So I just kind of tell the story of where I'm at.
Who are some of your favorite writers?
Favorite writers?
Yes.
Ooh, all right.
Specifically writers.
Yes. Let me see. This is real left field. I really like Carly Simon, Joni Mitchell, Diane Warren. I like what Kwame was doing back in the day. I like a lot of the stuff. I mean, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are more so production, but when the writing as far as their vocal arrangements of how they're going to arrange a song is really dope. Janet doesn't get credit for being a songwriter,
right?
But she wrote the majority of her catalog.
Exactly.
Let me see who. Marvin Gaye, Stevie. There's a lot. I have my ear is calibrated to what my parents played all the time, so that's kind of where most of my ear comes from.
So before we go into our break, I'm going to ask the question I ask all artists that come into the studio. If you could work with Trey's sighing over there, like I'm going to ask you something weird. The question is, if you could work with any artist on your next album, living or dead, give me 2 male, 2 female.
All right, living right now, Anderson .Paak and Duckworth are my 2 favorite current entertainers. I enjoy Anderson .Paak for the instrumentation. I like that Duckworth is unapologetically himself. Dead, I would have killed to have been able to just take 5 minutes and just sit and watch Prince do whatever he does. So I would have loved to do that. And man, one more. If I'm going to say dead, I don't know what we could have been able to do, but it would have been kind of dope to work with like a Natalie Cole.
Right.
I mean, she would sing circles around me, but it would be kind of dope to see where we could go in that one. Or even the guy that just passed from M2May would have been really dope.
James.
Yeah, there's so many greats that aren't here anymore.
Yeah, I know.
So.
Yeah. Well, one of the people that I know you would probably love to work with, we have a special mix of hers just for you.
All right.
I want you to listen very carefully to the beginning of it, because again, we tailored this especially for you, Calvin, and then we're going to get into a Calvin Michaels mix, which ought to be interesting because you don't have any idea what songs we selected. You have no idea. So we're going to get into our Janet Jackson mix, and we're going to get into our Calvin Michaels mix right here on Kerry's Corner, your new home for throwbacks and new jacks. Put the camera on him.
Aside from the big Janet Jackson hits that she's going to perform, like Rhythm Nation and If and All For You and stuff like that, she also performed The Knowledge from the Rhythm Nation album. That's what she opened the show with. And I mean, she came out with like the cane, swinging the cane around and everything.
Count
4.
Prejudice. No. Ignorance. No. Bigotry. No. Illiteracy. No. Count. Free to imagine the future you like. soaring above all your boundaries. Yes, the day will come. Just remember when you're overwhelmed. Dream and take some time to love yourself. Believe you're free to do whatever you want. No more room number 4.
See, you in there dancing, and I'm in here needing questions answered.
Told me it's nobody harder and I'm with the G-ski. I need that shit for the free ski. We are not buying no pussy, you sell it on P Street. It's so much work on my celly, I had to go tell them.
The knowledge can beat the odds. No excuses. Let's play this game.
I was still slide like Neo. Keep all around my pre-roll. New Orleans nigga, I'm Creole. She say, babe, does it hurt when I deep though? I just better not for your T-ho.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that bitch like Stockton. Just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10.
Bitches. We the best music. Another one, yeah. DJ Khaled.
There's so many times I wonder how about you. Day and night and day. All I got to say is, if I was your girl, all the things I do to you, I make you call up my name, might ask who it belongs to. If I was your woman, the things I do to you, but I'm not, so I can't and I won't. But if I was your girl,
dance floors.
3, 2, 1. Three.
Chill just like we did before. Access granted, 'cause I can say the rules to play. Just tell me you want to. Whatever you want will be just fine. I love the chase, we take the pace. Just my dear love, I'm so excited you're mine. Baby, get the keys and go. Like up to the stars on your face. You're flying higher than the line. As we let the rhythm flow, tell me when I take your race. You're Let's go for Friday. Taste of the streets. Jump on your worries, come on, hurry, 'cause we're high above the streets. I feel no strength, just give yourself. Tell me all the things you need to see. Let me take away from the what you say. Always want to polish your crown. Just must atomic, so great to see. What did you find it? So good to me. I keep the promise that I'll always visit lessons of your grace. A thrill you bring, can't help myself. You check the shade, it makes my hunger sing. From the way you sway, when I put replay, look at the rain in your eyes. Stop for whenever I spot you, baby. So down low for whatever you want to, baby. Yes, waste your time. Oh, could you be mine, my baby? It's a parade. I'll go the extra mile for you. Let me serenade. Tell me if you want me to. But you're special. You bring a kind of magic to my life. You're so special. Dance into the night, hold your body tight. See you hit the phone, I'll check your text, I'll ring the bell, I'll sweet caress. That's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Can I come through? Can I come through? I know that it's tough, but I'm willing to risk it. They sure have your favorite dress to let your body sing. That's your special. You bring a kind of magic to my life. You're so special. Dance into the night, hold your body tight. The time it turns to moments, the time it turns to moments. All the fantasies. That's how we do. That's how we do.
And we're back on the Kerry's Corner Radio Show live here with Calvin Michaels. What's up, brother?
Everything. Enjoying New York today.
It's a hectic day here in the studio. So we just came out of a Janet Jackson mix, especially for you. Started off with You talking about your experience at the State of the World tour, and then we went into what I assumed was your favorite Janet Jackson songs, if you could have any. So of course now I have to ask, what are your favorite Janet Jackson songs, if you had to? I mean, that's a hard question.
Y'all got some good ones in there. That's why I was glad that was in there. Empty is a good one. 24 Play. I like a lot of her mid-tempo slow jams. I mean, there's of course the big stadium escapades and stuff, but she has really good mid-tempos and slow jams.
And of course, we ended everything off with the album version specifically.
That's
for
the
you
good one
of 24 Play, because I know you the video version is not your favorite per se. And then we were able to listen to a couple of tracks from you.
Yep.
From your first and second albums.
Yes.
So what's it like when you're actually in the studio at a radio station and they're playing your music? What does that feel like for you?
I get kind of bashful, but it's cool. I kind of start being observant, like, are they bopping their heads or not? Like, because then I'm like, well, while I'm finishing this other project, that means I gotta go back and change some stuff. So no, it's pretty cool anytime people can connect with it. That's dope.
And so we're gonna what we traditionally do with the artist who comes in with fresh music that we've never heard before, we like to talk about it and critique it and say whether it sucks or not. And I also think that's very important for the artist, just because the artist gets to hear what a radio show's opinion. So we're not going to give you your girlfriend, your best friend, your godmother, or your mother's opinions. We're going to give you the opinions of the people that you want to play your music. So let's start with the DJ. What did you think of the tracks? We got some more of his stuff in the next album, which is dope. But thus far, what have you heard? What's your opinion of what you heard?
I was telling you before that a lot of the stuff that I heard it was amazing. I'm very impressed, man. He has that old school feel to his music. It actually fits him very well. And I was chopping it up with him. He said he plans on remastering it and putting it back out. We need to do that.
Okay. Fair enough. And you, young man, keep on, Merrill.
Yeah. I think the aspect of the music that most stood out to me was... Okay, I think the aspect that most stood out to me was definitely just how good of a vibe I was getting from it. The music is pleasant to listen to. It's just like, I could just listen to that all day. It's like candy. I love it.
Lord knows I love candy. Seriously.
You went there.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bag full behind me. Diabetes and all. Paul, I know you've been running around the studio dealing with technical difficulties, but what was the vibe that you got from the songs that you heard playing behind you with all the chaos?
Sadly, I was really busy with the chaos and I didn't really get to fully listen, but I definitely will take a better listen on the second listen, because I'm going to be completely honest, like, I don't think I was in the room at all.
Paying attention
because of these technical difficulties
that we're having here in the studio today, of course. And I'll just end with dude, like, dope. I mean, I get why my cousin DJ Just in Time had given it that Minneapolis stamp of approval or comparison. It's got that funk, but it's got that. Clearly, you're influenced by Jam and Lewis, in musically speaking.
Yep.
So, first album. What were we talking about in the first album? What are the subjects that we're talking about on that first record?
So the first album is kind of just all the ideas I had at the time before I built my studio, and then I finally got to kind of put them to sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of very whimsical songs about life and love and everything. I think I wrote a song for my father after he passed, and stuff like that. It was very kind of that learning experience where you're kind of learning how to do things at the same time as you go along. And so it's a very upbeat, high energy project. Just a lot of fun, honestly.
Okay. What did you get to do with the album? Did you get to perform? Did you tour? Did you make videos? What kind of...
The first album, I was so nervous about putting it out. And again, I have a YouTube channel. So, you've done years of going off on everybody. I was so scared to put it out. I was like, man, they're going to eat me alive. So I didn't really promote the first album. I would just kind of, here's a song. Like, I didn't even tell anybody it was out. I dropped it and then kept it moving. So when I got to the next project, that's when I became more intentional and I started, okay, well, we'll shoot a music video, or we'll do an open mic night, or we'll start adding a snippet of all of my songs at the end of every video, because that's a great way to get your stream numbers up too as well. It counts with YouTube streaming. So
and what we're not gonna do is skate over the first one, because, like Janet would do with her first album. I thought the first project, I've spoken to you, I've had conversation with you, you've hinted at the fact that you felt that it needed some repolishing or whatever. And initially, so what you don't know is that the mixes were made before you and I had that conversation.
Yeah.
And I was tempted to tell my mix show DJ, pull all of the songs from the first album, because I don't think he really wants to hear that. Because I think I had heard you say, like, oh, when I hear them, I don't really. And I was like, but they're so good though. So I really wanted to. But the other thing is, Calvin, that an artist is always going to be overly critical
of everything.
about his work. So I was like, I don't want him to be unhappy with the show, so I'm going to pull the songs from the first album and we'll just focus on the second. But I was like, nah, I can't do that for the sake of the listeners. I wanted the listeners to be able to have their own opinion, and I think that the first project definitely deserves its kudos.
And it still has legs. Honestly, I'm still getting decent streams on them. So clearly the music connected.
Yeah, Junior and his phone. Now let's talk about the second album, which you seem to be more inclined to push and talk about. The hard cover. That was my labor of love. I worked so hard on it. So that one was a lot more intentional. Like I said, I love Symphonic Euphoria because I love just all of the different layers I had. I really want to go back and remaster and mix it a little differently, just because that was the first one. So now that you know what you're doing, you kind of just want to go back and polish it so it can be even better. Right.
But as far as the hardcover, that one I had a goal in mind. I wanted people to take me a little bit more seriously as an artist, and I had to also learn to become a fan of myself artistically.
Right.
Because like you said, as an artist, you are very critical of your own work, and all it takes is one person to kill all of your confidence. Just takes one bad review out of 800 good ones, and you'll hold on to that one bad one. But that one I wanted to really just come up with some music like really fun, lively again. It's an album that tells a story of my life from about age 20 to about where I was up until about 2018. So as you listen to it chronologically, it tells a story about everything that happens in life. So there's situationships, my father passing, conversations about like just not really sure what you're doing in life, that kind of stuff. And so it jumps into a bit of everything. There's even kind of like an almost bluegrass country sounding song on there. And so it's a good mix. I enjoyed it. I shot a music video for It Played Us. We wanted to get a video shot for Addicted, which was my favorite song on the album. It just weren't able to get it done. But the good thing about not being signed to a label, you can always go back and promote a previous album.
I was going to say that. It's never old to those who haven't listened to it. And what about your next and third project? What's the whole story? And it's a very dope setup that I know that you have for this story, because I wrote about you for eFreak magazine. But tell us.
I can't wait. So it's actually two albums. The entire theme is called the Today Project. And so one album is called Before Tomorrow, and the other album is called After Yesterday, and they both equate to today. And so Before Tomorrow is pretty much a continuation of what I already have been doing with Symphonic Euphoria in the hardcover, with the very danceable songs, the songs that are high energy, lots of layers and lasers and all kind of things that just the feel good stuff you play in the car when you just need to turn up a bit.
Right.
After Yesterday, I wanted to go a more R&B, soulful, traditional route because I've never quite done it. And so that album is all just R&B mid-tempos. There's one or two up-tempos, but it's a very... If you could take the highlights that came out of the 70s, 80s, and the 90s melodically, that's where we're going. So it's very like Teddy Pendergrass influence, Tony Braxton, Brothers Johnson-ish. So it's very, very different. I think the first single that is coming off that album actually references Brandy Sitting Up in My Room, but it's a mid-tempo, so that'd be really interesting if that's the one I push out there. So it's two totally different albums, but it's still me. So I just wanted to give, because I recognize that even as I get older, my the ears are going to change. So as much as I love choreography and stuff, sometimes people just want a slow jam or something they can groove to. So Tony has a big influence on that. Their Sons of Soul album, that kind of sound. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
So you're not obviously you're not signed to a label, and so that means you're doing your own A&R. So what are the decision-making factors when it comes to selecting a first single? Because I know one thing about you from the review that you did on Janet's music and on TLC's music is you certainly understand singles and how they should be released. I mean, I don't know how they do it today, guys, because I don't. But from the 90s and from the 80s and beyond or before, there's certain formulas and strategies that go. Singles are not just randomly tossed on to radio programmers. So what are some of the decision-making factors that you used to pick which singles you would have released?
So my goal with each album is to have no filler. And so for me, I feel like on either album, I could have put out any song as a single out of both of them. So that's always been the goal. But as far as picking the single, it's, for me, I have like my honesty friends.
Yes.
Because, you'll be in love with something. Somebody else will be like, this is trash. No. Right. So I got my honesty friends that I summon one by one on different days and kind of see how they feel. And, usually they're spot on. Sometimes they don't understand where I'm going. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's just, if I'm excited about it, then I know it's good. It's not to sound cocky, but it's just, sometimes you just know, or you feel it. And the thing is, like, doing these albums, so when I did the hardcover, I started that album in 2018, and it didn't drop till the spring of 2019. And so the song It Played Us was the first single that was pushed, and even as the album dropped, I was still excited about the song a year and a half after I made it. And so that's one of the signs too, because it can tell you your shelf life, and that's probably why my albums take so long, because I start swapping out songs if I get tired of them before the album is ready. So yeah, I find songs that give me the same excitement from when I first made them or first heard them, and then I just kind of see what my honesty friends kind of say about the different tracks, and then just what kind of energy does it give.
Now, I've heard you talk about Janet's albums, and again, I was really impressed with the way that you dissected albums and singles and things of that nature. Do you think, let's use her as an example because we're both very familiar with her catalog, do you think that she does fillers? Explain, first of all, for those that don't know, a filler is...
Yeah, so a filler is pretty much, it's a song, you just throw an album to complete it. I don't think she does really a lot of fillers. I think she has personal tracks sometimes that may not necessarily be radio friendly, because I think, again, her probably most acclaimed album outside of Rhythm Nation is probably Velvet Rope, and some would say that's an album full of like a lot of filler songs, but not really, because the songs still have a purpose. I think what separates a filler song from an album track or a personal track is, does it have purpose? Because if you go back to the industry back in the 60s and the 70s, like a lot of the classic Aretha projects, you'd have the big single and then a lot of standards, just because they just, this when you were putting out 2 or 3 albums a year. So that's kind of some of the energy with some people with filler tracks sometimes. They just kind of throw anything on there just to finish it. And so I think Janet, I don't think she really is a filler artist. I will say
Tonight's the Night, the Rod.
It was, I like that.
Really?
It was I liked it because it was different for nobody was expecting. If I had to name a filler song, and Janet's fans gonna fight me, I would have said Funky Big Band off the Janet album. And I still like that one, but
it's got a lot of meaning though.
Because I just remember as a child when I heard Tonight's the Night. Now mind you, I'm like 9. I was like, what did she just say?
She didn't even change the gender from the original Rod Stewart.
I was confused. I was like, wait a minute. She said me, you, and you. Wait, so it's 3 people doing it? So
I don't know. Just definitely wasn't one of my favorites from that particular album. But you're saying that you feel. I know that she said her mother liked the original, and so that's why she recorded it. But okay.
I like because it shifts towards the end where the melody changes, and there's the part that she added that Rod Stewart didn't have. So that's what makes me kind of like that one. I think it just fits where it sits on the album. But I'll say that's an album that I appreciated later on, because when I was a kid, when I bought the album, there were a few tracks I was skipping and I didn't appreciate them until I was much older.
But you wouldn't give us fillers.
Because it wouldn't be a filler to me. It might be to somebody else, because I do think my ears are like calibrated to a certain time period in music. So people who might really be obsessed with what's current may not necessarily feel everything that I'm doing. But if I'm not excited about it, I'm not putting it out. Especially because at this point with the YouTube, people know me for being heavily critical of things. So I can't just talk trash and then put this out. Because even I remember the first album came out, somebody was like, you talked all that trash and this is what you came out with?
But your skin has to be just as tough as your tongue.
Yep.
Everybody's not going to like your music. I mean, as much as I claim to be this, and I'm not claiming it, I'm a huge fan of R&B. I love R&B. I'm definitely way more an R&B fan than I am a hip-hop fan. In fact, I'm barely a hip-hop fan. I can honestly tell you, Boyz II Men never made one song ever that I liked. And people look at me like, how can you be an R&B fan? It's just, I'm not saying that they're not a good group. I'm not saying that they don't have dope tracks. I'm not saying that they don't have beautiful voices. They just never made a song that I gravitated to.
You felt it was too calculated, or?
No, I can't they've just never ever made a song that I liked. I know the difference between a good and a bad song, right? Mm-hmm. But whether I liked it or not, no. And so, I mean, it really is about just having an ear and taste. And I think you, of all people, know that, you know, people are going to have their opinions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? By the flip side, one of my favorite albums of all time is Debbie Allen's Special Look album. Did you know that she had one? Well, you probably do know.
Wow.
That's one of my favorite albums, 1988 Debbie Allen Special Look. I can listen to every song from beginning to end repeatedly.
I said that about Randy Jackson's group, the Gypsies.
Mm-hmm.
That album he had in '89. It actually came out like I think a month after Rhythm Nation. It's a really nice album. It just didn't catch on.
Yeah,
Honey Love was a bop, and so was Perpetrators.
And I actually interviewed on Pipe TV, Mr. Cox's network, one of Debbie Allen's best friends, and I said to her, when you talk to her, tell her that I love that album. And I don't know who said it. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even said, but something to the effect of, I think you probably were the only person that bought that album. Me and Felicia Rashad.
I think it just came out at that time when you had a lot of actresses jumping into music. Because remember, Jasmine Guy had some stuff out too. She was coming out. I don't know. Industry's fickle. So
let everybody know how they can get in touch with you on social media. Definitely plug that YouTube channel, because it is definitely, in my opinion, the best YouTube channel out there. So much content, so much charisma, so much variety. It's something for everybody on your channel. How can they subscribe?
All right. So social media, you can actually find me pretty much. You can just type Calvin Michaels on anything. I'll pop up. So YouTube, it's under Calvin Michaels. Instagram, Twitter, you can type in Calvin Michaels. I'll pop up. But the username is actually Give Me a Beat.
Gee, I wonder where that came from.
No idea. And and so you can find me on that. I have a Facebook fan page as well, but Facebook is interesting because there's a specific demographic that still uses it. Nobody else is on it like that, but I try to keep it moving.
Most people on Facebook nowadays, it seems like they're in their upper years. I think I have to be honest, because like it is an older demographic than
I'm on there. So like I said, the podcast, you can search Calvin Michaels for that as well, but it's called Comedically Hard-Headed. That's on all digital or streaming platforms. Same for the music. You can find everywhere: iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all of those places.
Okay. And your third project, what is the target date?
Ooh,
or a month or a year?
I can announce it. But the goal is sometime, hopefully in the summer. Because the thing, when you're doing two albums at the same time, the goal is to not make sure they sound like you just had a long session and just split the songs.
Right.
So these are two albums that have their own life. So we're about 85% done with Before Tomorrow, and then After Yesterday is probably like 70% done. After Tomorrow is taking a little bit more time because there's a lot more emphasis on the vocal arrangements, because it's actually you got to actually sing on that one. So,
well, I'm excited, man. Of course, you know I'm a fan of your work as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. So, and I love your music. Moving forward into the show, we have one of your other favorite recording artists, somebody who is very much a part of my early career, Miss Toni Braxton. I actually promoted her first two albums. Lovely sister. She gave me a lot of good advice. I have all kinds of Toni Braxton stories, and none of them are anything but beautiful. And of course, we have another Calvin Michaels mix to check out here on the Kerry's Corner Radio Show, your new home for throwbacks and new jacks. Hey, what's up, y'all? Just kick back, relax, and listen to this week's Artist Spotlight.
If I never feel you in my arms again, if I never feel your tender kiss again, if I never hear I love you now and then,
Tony Braxton. Dark child, yeah. Little girl, who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man? But I chose to let him go. So why do you act like I still care about him? Looking at me like I'm hurt when I'm the one who said I didn't want it to work. Don't you forget I had it first. Stop blaming me. He wasn't man enough for me. Now here's your chance. I've already had your man. Just where he's been, and I'll be worried about him now. It's time to know the truth. I think he's just a man for you. Girlfriend, I'm not thinking about him, but you marry him. Do you know I made him leave? Do you know he meant to stay with me? He wasn't man enough for me. Everybody's talking about you and her together. How could you do that to me? And everybody's talking about all the wonderful things you do with her, like you used to with me. Can you tell by the look on my face? I still like you that way. Now I can hardly remember why we ever lost touch, but I can tell that I love you and I still love you as long as I live. I'll never get over his killing me. I'll never get over.
And now, the art of love.
Hey, hold up a minute. Let me stop up here and just pay phone real quick. Hey, Tony, it's me. I was just calling, you know. Just calling to let you know. Don't wait up for me tonight. I mean, I just got a lot of things on my mind I gotta think about, you know. I'll be over Brian's house, you know, just for the night. I mean, I know things are different, but you know, it's not you, it's me, you know, it's really me, you know. I mean, basically, I just think I'ma need some space.
Why you calling me on the phone? Why you're not at home on time? You say you're staying over your friends, 'cause you got a lot on your mind. Now you swear it up and down and it ain't me. Still you say that things have changed. So tell me what exactly does it mean when you say you need your space? Just don't make no excuses. Why you gotta lie to me? No. Just be a man about it. Baby, you ain't gotta lie to me. No. Right now, just be a man about it. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand, I love you, you know what I'm saying? And I love you enough to say that I think you deserve somebody better than me, you know? And right now, I can't give you what you need, you know? I mean, I wanna love you, and I'm gonna love you one day, but, you know, I mean, you just gotta understand where I'm coming from.
Let's get it!
Motivated, all my thoughts about tomorrow. No complaints, perfect pace takes me on a journey. I'm so ready as my footsteps keep me steady. Cheers follow my life, leaving me dancing, so happy about, yeah. Love the way I feel, it's real. Oh, so real, yeah. Ooh, I'm walking the pathway, leads to my greater. Promising for the next day, nothing can stop me. Living for something. Come on, I'm living for something. Soul in a place of peace, releasing control doesn't mean defeat. Sometimes letting go can make things align. It's time to feel when the rain comes. Remember, it will always wash away your pain, your tears.
Song. Yeah, I think we're there. Let's go.
Wanna be the one your channel journey seems so far. Weary of the road to travel, life's clock don't stop. Wanna dream into the hours, job is moving slow. The ladder seems to scale a tower, afraid of what you don't know. What do you say? What do you say when you're so
still spinning, lost in the minutes, cause I'm on the mission, but you dismiss it, cause you got it like that, what you think about that, miss the messages and sending, so the call right now, okay, committed, with your life on track and they always got your back, but the vision's still lost and blurring, now you got someone else, damn, too bad, that friend who loves you undercover, that friend, but you're just way too blind to see, giving your loving to another, listen, that's only just stayed up your friend, what you got, they want you bad, what you got, stayed up your friend, what you got, they want you bad, what you got, stayed up your friend, what you got, they want you bad, what you got, stayed up your friend, what you got, they want you bad, what you got, stayed up your friend, they played the last card, game's over, that's it, to reap your feelings on the downs, they feel like cause they fall into the low and then you know it's really over. No shot, no chance for romance. Cause you got it like that, what you think about that? It's the messages and spending. So the call right now, okay, committed. With your life on track and they always got your back, but the vision's still lost and blurring. Now you got someone else. Damn, too bad. That friend who loves you undercover.
I'm sorry that we're unable to take your call at this time. But if you leave your name, your telephone number, and the time that you call, we will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you. Have a nice day, and may God bless. Bye.
All right, Dad. This one's for you.
First thing early cannot hide the fact that it's gonna be the rest of my life. Pinched myself, hoped I was dreaming, felt every sharp pain burning inside, and these chords goodbye, saturated in heartbreak. As time goes on, it's the good things I remember, and all the ways your words molded my life. It's strong, you said, and I try to think ahead, and I know you guided me on the path of right or wrong. Never be alone.
Hey, this is Kerry D. Singleton from the Kerry's Corner Radio Show, and you are in the mix with our DJ, Andre Jones.
Andre Jones in the mix.
Hello, my love, I heard a kiss from you. Red magic satin playing near too. All through the morning rain I gave, the sun doesn't shine. Rainbows and waterfalls run through my mind. In the garden I see west purple shower bells and tea, orange birds and river cousins dressed in green. Pretty music I hear, so happy and loud. Blue flowers echo from my cherry cloud. Feel sunshine sparkle pink and blue. A playgrounds will laugh if you try to ask, or is it cool? Is it cool? If you arrive and don't see me, I'm gonna be with my baby. I'm free. Fly on over the sea. Stained window, yellow candy screen. See speakers of kites with velvet roses, big and freedom flies.
from above. He led me to you. He led me to you. He built a bridge to your heart all the way. How many tons of love inside I can say? When I was led to you, I knew you were the one for me. I swear the whole world could feel my heartbeat when I lay eyes on you. You wrap me up in the color of love. You gave me the kiss of life, kiss of life. You gave me the kiss that's life, the kiss of life.
Andre Jones in the mix.
Girl, you're looking sweeter now. You got it every day, girl. Wish that I could love you right in a special way. You like my vibe. I feel alive with you, baby. You blow my mind. I'm satisfied. So much loving. Girl, you knock me out. Excited. I'm so excited. It makes me wanna shout. Whoa,
Andre Jones. Sucker.
You make me happy. This you can bear. You stood right beside me, yeah, and I won't forget. And I really love you. You should know. I wanna make sure I'm right, girl, before I let go. I searched for love before, for love that I thought I couldn't find. I searched day in and day out for the one that was mine, all mine. I played around with love before. I was silly, and you know that I played the fool. But then you came into my life and you changed that. 'Cause I know what I want and where it's at. Yeah. Since I found you, I'm in love with you. I found love. Since I found you, I'm in love with you. I found my sunlight is in your face. When I see that certain glow, a picture that's so bright, you're my delight, and that's why I love you so. I played around with I can't fool myself, I don't want nobody else to ever love me. You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy. There's not a minute, hour, day or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list 'cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you, how I spent my day dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come in. Oh, my love. 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Oh, my love. A million days in your arms is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Too much, never too much, never too much, never too much, 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 too much.
From the radio to the TV screen, anything you want or ever need, it's on Gary's Corner. It's on Gary's Corner. He's not up the block or across the street. If you want to get a seat, you can meet us on Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner. This is Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner. You tuned in to Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner. This is Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner. You tuned in to Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner. Gary's Corner.
Andre Jones in the mix.